That's a good approach in breaking that stigma.
Perfect example, because like you can be the manliest man or whatever, the strongest person in the world, and you have a child that's going through an addiction problem. And now that is going to affect you. It doesn't matter how strong, how physically strong you are, how mentally strong you are. Like, it's really going to affect you. And to the world, you might be on top of the world, but at home, or, you know, you're dealing with something. And that is something that you maybe don't want to talk about. You know, or that's something that, you know, you can go over and he can give you a hug. Not saying that this was his situation, you know, but there's so many things that sometimes we just deem them like they're not important, but they are.
But think about like health issues. How many people do you see openly discuss their health issues? It doesn't mean that they don't struggle with it. It doesn't mean that when they are off camera or, you know what I mean, away from work, they don't go home and cry about, oh my God, how did I get this? Why did I get this? What if I did this differently? You know, so we struggle with a lot of these different things. You know what I'm saying? Like even fitting in or feeling like an outcast could be a struggle, but you're not going to openly say, hey, I feel like an outcast. You're going to probably play the game, fake it till you make it, that type of thing. You know, or try to fit in as best as you possibly can, you know, but
that is a big thing, especially in teenagers, like, or in adults sometimes too. Like, sometimes people can be ruthless, you know?
Definitely.
And then now you're struggling to, like, hey, find your friend group, find your people, find your community, you know, that's important. So, I mean, not saying that, you know, being manly or that's not important, whatever, but, like, there's so much more that gets involved into it.
Definitely. So in essence, mental health awareness, you know, basically allows for us to implement measures to reduce the stigma and, you know, improve understanding of mental health, you know, in hopes of, like we said earlier, saving more lives and just, you know, expanding the concept itself. So what are some things that you would say are geared at breaking the stigma?
For sure, finding a good trusted group of people that you can talk to, right?
I agree.
I'm blessed to have multiple groups of people I can talk to. In fact,
we heard.
Oh yeah, I did say that. Because I got a group, I'd be like, you know, I'm gonna say something dumb. I'm gonna say something I would say in, you know, the manlier group. I say it in there, and I'll be like, you know, it'll work out. You know, they'll be like, oh really, man, that's crazy, bro. I say it in another group, and it's like, you know, get cussed out. And I think that. I don't know, man. Maybe it is a generation thing, because I think back in the day, I gotta stop saying that phrase, but it's just like it really did tell you where your limit is of you know what you can and can't talk about. But as far as
did that make it right?
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you why, because it kind of separates people into like those groups that you were talking about before.
Like focus groups?
No, I think I was looking at the computer, but you were saying that, you know, you got to get into your groups of people to where, you know what I'm saying, like, let's say for example you got people who watch like this type of show, like the Game of Thrones people, like they'll go into their thing based off of the way that they like the show, and then you got people who watch, you know, Sex and the City, they'll go into that thing, right? So based off of the way people react to you, but I don't really like it like that. You know what I'm saying? Then you talk to this guy and he's like, oh, okay, well, you know, I've been through that too. So now you kind of form your own groups based off of reactions, right? And then that's kind of how, you know, you end up with these kind of semi-support groups. But I think that, like I said, just finding a trusted group of people, maybe find some people who have a lot of stuff in common with you, right? I got a whole best friend or two or three from high school that I can literally like just go, we're on brother mode, like, hey man, look, man,
going through this,
I've been constipated for 5 days, bro. I don't know what to do. He be like, well, let me tell you what I did. I went to the doctor and got the chinky chain. You know, I wouldn't say that to my other group of friends. It's like, bro, who's been in there clogging you up?
Exactly.
And it's like, oh my God, I wish I would have never said anything, right?
So either somebody you know or somebody you don't know, like a therapist. Like a lot of people go to therapy.
Therapists, yeah.
I mean, you know.
But with that being said, right? How do you tell someone who's introverted? Remember, an introvert pretty much doesn't interact too much anyway. So I'm suffering with mental health, grappling with something, and people know me normally people are used to me not talking or not being openly expressive, right? So it's more difficult to identify that I'm suffering with mental health or whatever, because I usually don't talk anyway. So what do you say about people like that?
Well, luckily these days you can go onto social media and start crying, and somebody's gonna listen. So introverted people, it doesn't matter what you got, as long as you're brave enough to turn on that camera and post it. Somebody, you might get 40% of people who roast you. You still gonna get 60.
Well, we talking about an introvert. Remember, an introvert is not gonna go public.
Like maybe like journaling, writing about it. If you feel like social media is your avenue, go on different groups anonymously, post about it.
Anonymously,
because I've seen a lot of stuff anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like they used to have like hotlines back in the day, like when
Good Lord.
So they used to have like hotlines where people could just call and talk and stuff like that. But anonymous posting and getting that insight from other groups. I have a bunch of groups on Facebook that I'm a part of, like toddlers with autism and stuff like that. And sometimes some of the things that parents struggle with are really intense, and they'll post it anonymously.
Yeah.
And maybe I went through that as with my child, my 5-year-old being autism when he was 2, and I can go in there and say, hey, it's okay, be patient, give them that encouragement that they need, because that is important. So being an introvert, if you are an introvert, find your outlet, because
even
sometimes it's not talking, it's not a social group, it's not alcohol anonymous meeting where a round table kind of deal,
It could even be like self-educating. So, okay, I'm an introvert, I don't like talking, but I have access to books that can give me insight, or change my perspective about this, or kind of work as some sense of comfort for me, or watch a podcast. Watch us.
Watch us be crazy.
Me personally, it's funny because I got all these support groups that I got, right? And I should better talk to. I do a lot of praying, just for the people who do pray. I want to make sure that we do cover that, because I pray about it. I'll read the scripture and I'll get a word from that. Just to make sure that we cover that, because that is very effective.
Is very important.
That's what happened. That's what helped me, because again, I come off as the type of person that is very hard to take serious in anyways, right? So even if
who said that?
Even if I'm having a serious issue, I'll call people like, hey man, I can't say I'm going to work. I'm like, no, I'm trying to talk here.
If I ever see you not smiling, it's going to be a problem. I'm going to be like, something is wrong.
Well, no,
automatically, we know that's an early intervention.
No, we have to do an intervention.
I got too many layers.
Wrap you up and take you ourselves personally to a clinic.
Nah, I got too many layers for that to happen at this point. But no, for what I'm saying, praying is super duper useful, especially deeper into the scriptures you can get. But other than that, you find something. I don't know. Like you said, find an outlet.
Find your outlet.
Find an outlet that does help. A healthy outlet. Just be specific.
Exercise. It could even be exercise. It could be, a lot of different things. That
No.
around
You're going too far. we ain't talking about self-care yet.
Take it back.
Yeah, we're gonna go to self-care next.
Okay.
They correlate, but we don't want to. We don't want to straight to. We talking about breaking the stigma, right? We're talking about breaking the stigma now.
Like I said, you got to be brave. Especially because the last episode we was talking about identifying when you have negative things going on with you, right? So in this case, you really do have to say, look, listen, I've been struggling with this. I need, matter of fact, I need intervention.
Exactly.
Y'all come, however big a group is, or because a lot of groups.
So speak up.
When they get big enough, you get your micro groups inside that bigger group, right? I'm like, look, man, you two, I just need y'all to come. I'm gonna buy some drinks, and we're just gonna drink, and I'm gonna just let it all out, and it's just between us. That's what a lot of guys. It's just between us.
But that's a good point you made, because you see, once you're able to identify it, then the intervention process becomes easier, right? And you have to be willing to accept that everyone is not gonna understand. You know what I mean? Because if you identify an issue you struggle with, you're not gonna sit here and go and explain that to every single person. So whatever changes you make may not suit those who are used to you acting or doing things a certain way, but nonetheless you're doing it for you. So I feel like you have to prioritize yourself, because I have an example, right?